My name is Lola B. Welcome to 30 Days of Glamour Magic. I'm coming to you to share with you my glamour techniques and tips to add to your grimoire or spell work. This is a teaching platform, so I encourage you, if you would like to stay and get comfortable, to have the following: something to write with, some type of paper or notebook, a reflective surface for the mirror work, any makeup tools or supplies if you would like to follow along with the glamour application, and most importantly, your questions as well as your insights. Although I am officiating, I do love to hear any information or knowledge anybody has on any of the topics or different things that are brought up during the conversation. Today is Thursday, and Thursday represents luck, expansion, and abundance. And it is ruled by the planet Jupiter, with zodiac association Sagittarius and Pisces, which is fire as well as water elements. Associated with the heart chakra, the colors are green, blue, purple, indigo. Today we'll be talking about grammar for expansion. Our theme is growth without strain. So the energy of Jupiter is about openness, about possibilities, also about trust, which we did talk about confidence already this week. And so our focus today is allowing more without forcing outcomes. So our affirmation behind us is, I allow myself to expand with ease. You can also say, I welcome growth that supports me, or more is available and I receive it calmly. Remember, we talked about in previous lives that when it comes to manifestation and being able to align yourself with either what's already yours or manifesting and materializing things into this realm, it always starts with being content. I am playing 341.3 hertz frequency, which is for the heart chakra. Let's just jump right in with our teaching points for expansion. Expansion is not about overextension. And as I was thinking about that, I even have a book that I've been reading about doing it all, trying to stop over functioning. So everybody may have their different levels or type of how they measure success and their goals and how that adds up to what they want to accomplish. However, expansion is not about overextension. When we talk about balance, even the pursuit to the success and the success itself is not about you being overextended, drained, pulled from one end to the other end. That is not expansion. Expansion is not about doing more, it's about allowing more. I immediately thought about the cups as it pertains to the tarot, and how a lot of the times when I am giving generals or just any personal, when it comes to those that resonate with my soul essence, more cups always come out than pentacles, because spirit is always trying to remind us that it's more so about our capacity and what we have the room to be able to bring in more than doing more or even having more, because we have to be content. So when we look and feel supported, we allow ourselves to take up more space. We allow ourselves to be able to make room. There's a balance in being able to prune people, places, things, circumstance, habits, so that you can be prepared for new seasons. Everything goes in cycles, everything goes in seasons. And so there are times when you may have to stop doing something, stop talking to somebody, stop going to certain places. You may even, because like I said, habits, circumstances, places, people, things. It's not always just about people. It's not always just about things. It could be a combination. And so within balance, that's something that we should naturally be trying to do. I live in the Midwest, and personally around this time, a lot of stuff is dormant. It's the winter time. It is cold. We've seen in nature where the trees have lost the leaves and we're waiting. And when we know that then when the earth is transitioning to that next cycle, we'll start to see nature responding to it differently. And so it's mirroring that. Whether we feel it in a natural sense or not, we should be able to feel it in a spiritual sense when it's time to vibe a little bit lower. Or maybe when it's time to get rid of things that are old. Just walked into a new calendar year. It's usually energetically, because everybody usually be on the same mind frame, is when we start thinking about new goals, when we start reevaluating old ones, when we start cutting off things that we feel like no longer serves us. That's an energetic thing, and that ties into expansion. Making more space, looking at the space that we have, being confident to show up as our whole self, because you can only attract genuinely what you desire through genuity and not through being fake. It's not about faking the funk. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. It's not about faking the funk. It is about being genuine. It's about being authentic. It's about being specific. It's about being intentional. So how does glamour come into play? We're using glamour as permission. Remember, sometimes we fall back on self-embodiment as a form to be able to let ourselves be expressed without having to say words. Letting the inside be seen externally. I'm just making up words. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Externally, sometimes without having to announce it, without having to be too loud. True confidence is not loud. And so we use glamour to give ourselves permission for the senses to take over, where somebody can see us, somebody can feel us, somebody can smell us, and we don't even have to do much. It's internal permission first, to allow yourself to take up space and to be okay, content with where you are, and feel the urge and the nudge and the push to be able to eliminate what does not serve you. Do that natural. I have clothes in my closet right now. Some of them, there's nothing wrong with them. There's no holes, there's no stains, they fit fine, but I haven't been wearing them. Or maybe they don't make me feel the way I used to feel when I first bought them. Maybe switched up and that's not my favorite colors anymore. I don't like how the color looks on me. I could probably give that to a thrift store. I don't necessarily have to throw it away, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a bad reason for the separation. Not all separation has to be for a negative reason. It could just be where I am going into a new cycle. I've outgrown these things, these people, person, place, habits. And again, I need to make room for more. If the universe is going to mirror me, I can't keep asking and requesting and beseeching, and then there's no room. How can I receive when my fists are balled up? I have to be open. There has to be space, right? So expansion, again, is not about overextension. It's not about doing more. It's about making more room. It goes back to confidence as well. Trust is the core of growth. It requires trust, but not urgency. Again, we always talked about pacing ourselves. That's where true confidence comes in. There's no need to rush anything. What's aligned doesn't need to be rushed, because once you get on that frequency, then you're vibrating there, and then you're allowing everything to happen exactly in the divine timing that it's supposed to. But that confidence has to be there. That is one of the foundational things about spell work. That's the foundational thing about shadow work. Is when we talk about manifestation, we always have to go back to the basics: thought, speaking, action, divine intervention. So the universe is going to do something. You're going to do something. It starts with the thought. You do have to vocalize it, writing it down, different steps in there, but there are different parts the spirit may have you to hone in on. And we've started at the beginning, and that is just first off being content. When it comes to manifestation, you're content. When it comes to shadow work, you are discontent, because usually when it's triggers that are leading you to know what you have to work on within yourself, you have to be at a point of wanting to disconnect to start something new. When it comes to just bringing things in this atmosphere, that can be done at any point in time, but these two things go hand in hand. Just don't get them mixed up. You can't be discontent and want more. That's the wrong energy. And you can't be, if you feel like you're okay and you don't need to grow anymore, you're content with yourself, then you won't, then that's not the energy to do shadow work within. So you can't confuse the two, but they complement, they should not contradict each other, because faith without works is dead. I just watched another video this evening reminding me of a different way to give that notion. That is not just about lighting a candle and saying an incantation or a prayer or repeating a manifestation or writing it over and over again, 3-6-9 method. These are good. And those all align with using alchemy, because writing things in a certain pattern, that's sacred geometry getting thrown in there. Colors and things, also sacred geometry. Candles and whatnot, that is the elemental magic. So all of that is fine and dandy. But remember that without the shadow work, without getting up and doing something, because you may not even be ready for what it is that you're asking for. Just like how a woman's body, you're born with every single egg, but you don't even come into maturescence for puberty until a certain age. And then even then, you're still not mentally prepared to actually carry or have a baby. So you can become aware of what your purpose is, and you can become aware of what you're capable of and your capacity, because we have a womb, so we have the capacity, but ain't nothing supposed to be up in there for a while, because there's a lot of work that has to be done before we get to that point. There's a lot that has to happen for preparation. Mind, body, and soul has to be aligned. And you may have to go through some things in life to get to that point, to be ready to. So you can want something and you could be trying to manifest it, but you got to do something. There's something inside that you got to do, and then external that you have to do. There's steps. So I think that's the reason why some people want to doubt it. Some people want to doubt magic. First off, not understanding how grand it is. We live on a magical planet. We're magical beings. So magic is just literally a part of everyday life. We're trying to make it deep and spooky, and some people get afraid and act like they don't want to participate in it because of the fact that they don't understand it. Or people are very afraid of being disappointed and admitting it's the shame of I believed in something and it didn't happen the way that I thought it was going to happen or wanted it to happen. And so now I have to admit it was some fault of mine, right? That's a lot of times what religion will teach, is that it's some fault of ours. Our faith wasn't strong enough. That's not what it's about at all. We're already magical. We're living in magic. Every time we open up our mouth, we're just being magical. It's just a part of it. Glamour just means magic in itself. And so even in saying glamour magic is casting the spell, because it's the repetition of the word. So it's just like, it's nothing to be afraid of. That's the reason why we teach, so that the more information that we have, the more familiar we can, the awareness that we can apply it. That's what wisdom is, being able to apply the information. Practical implementation goes a long way. Practices don't mean anything without practical implementation. If you're not actually doing the things, understanding that you're already doing the things in everyday life, it's not going to make sense. It has to be a practical application for it. So again, trust is the core of growth, and growth requires trust, not rushing, not urgency. You have to be confident and have that foundation of trust, because glamour is just your internal permission. It is saying that I give permission to take up space. I give permission to expand. I give myself permission to present myself this type of way, and I'm bringing everything that's inside outwardly. And then everything that we do repeatedly. That is what a ritual is. We all have rituals. We all have habits. If you get up at the same time every day, sometimes find yourself getting up even before your alarm goes off. And then when you get up, you go straight to the bathroom. And then when you're in the bathroom, you brush your teeth, and then that is a ritual. So people don't want to look at it like that. But again, if we try not to be so scared by the words that we have chose to use to label certain things, we'll understand how simple it is. That is your ritual. And if you don't like something, or something in that is not working, you can change that. And I use the example of somebody getting up from an alarm, but even those that don't get up from an alarm, but you happen to get up every day at the same time, that's your natural body's rhythm of getting up, and you grab your phone and you check your socials and you scroll, but you do this every single time you wake up in the morning, that's a ritual. That is your ritual. Now, is that 100% supportive of your goals? Maybe you have an online business and you do have to check your emails in the morning. Nobody can tell you that it's not right. But if your spirit, or if you just feel like, oh, I don't get enough rest, or whatever the case may be, maybe you shouldn't go straight to the screen when you first wake up, or when you're trying to wind down at night. It really depends. I can't tell you that your ritual is not working for you unless you feel like you're not getting a result that you want to get. Then that's when it's pointing to maybe that you need to switch things up. But everybody has a routine and habits, and those are your rituals. Rituals is not just this deep and spooky spiritual or religious thing. It's whatever we do over and over again. And expansion is something else that responds to consistency. Small, repeated choices are going to create your long-term expansion, what you do on a regular basis. That's the reason why I tied it in and said that we should already naturally, the way that nature works, when cycles are beginning and ending, we should already have that pull and not ignore it, the push or the pull to prune things, throw things away, get rid of things that no longer serve us, maybe delete some pictures, maybe delete some messages, clean up, organize. That is all ways to increase expansion, and everything that we do in the physical can be translated in the metaphysical. And stuff sometimes is one-to-one. It may not seem like it, but it stuff usually is one-to-one. You could do a physical cleansing and you can do a spiritual cleansing. You could be in the shower and set the intention for a spiritual cleansing with the shower water. As I'm physically cleaning my body, I want this to also serve as a spiritual cleanse as well. And so then now I want to say, as the water is coming out of the faucet, touches my body, runs down and goes into the drain, this is what it's doing. I could set that motion. And if you want a lot of candle, a lot of incense, you could do all that extra stuff too. But a lot of times it's just by your confession. And then water is an element, so you're using an element as well. But it don't have to be big promises. It ain't got to be pressure. It just has to be consistency. So look at if there's a struggle with confidence, with expansion, with communication, with self-love. Some of the things that we've talked about this week so far. Look at your habits. Look at some areas where they may need to be cleansed and cleared. And that will help you to know exactly what to do. Now, here at the Moon Mood, I always go over our code of ethics and our rule of 3 before we get into our mirror practice, which is the second half of the first hour. So would love to get into that. I have my mirror right here handy. First and foremost, the Moon Mood, this work is for self-embodiment, confidence, and personal alignment. We work with clarity, consent, and care. We do not influence, manipulate, or override free will or cause intentional harm. Our energy is grounded, protected, and returned to balance. Just as you found me, you can find someone that dips and dabbles, in the dark arts or black magic if that is what you are looking for. This platform is not for that. We operate out of the rule of 3, which is first, am I being specific? Will it cause any harm to me or anyone else? Secondly, and third, am I willing to take responsibility? All having to do with intentionality, with understanding the risk in everything that you participate or initiate, and the awareness that we do live in duality. This is cause and effect. For every action, there's a reaction. Being able to take full responsibility for whatever cause your spell work is going to have. So if you agree with that code of ethics and as well as our rule of 3, then you are free and welcome to participate in any of the spell work that we do here at the Moon Mood. So moving right along, I would like to go ahead and let's walk through the process of getting ourselves 100% ready to start our mirror practice, which is always at least 2 different affirmations that we will say together that align with the planetary energy, our theme, and get us prepared to do the glamour application on the second portion. I do have my reflective surface here, which is already cloaked, and we always start with uncloaking and then reminding exactly how to open the portal. All reflective surfaces are portals, and so I'm going to be using a mirror because I am doing a makeup application, but your phones, any of the screens, water, glass, all different type of reflective surfaces that can be utilized. So it is up to you what you choose to use. But it is important to understand and know when it comes to shielding and blocking how to properly open a portal and close a portal when you are specifically doing that type of work. You can command and demand what type of energy that comes in and out with protection and with intentionality. A portal is like a door. And so imagine a door on a public building. You can't block anybody from coming in and out necessarily because it is a public door. Or you can't help, I should say. You don't know who's going to come up to the door. Let's frame it like that. You don't know who's going to come up to the door. I tried to talk about this a couple lives ago and my mouth just wasn't helping me to say what I was trying to say. You can't help who approaches the door. But again, with the proper protection in place, and when it comes to opening and closing the portal, same as if a restaurant closes, they lock the door. You don't know that the door is locked when you walk up to it until you grab it and try to go through. So that's part of how closing a portal would be, where it's still there, it's still accessible, but once it's closed, somebody can't just go through just all nilly-willy and open, if that makes sense. It's really hard to describe sometimes. the way that I'm seeing it in my brain. However, what we do is we'll take the cloth and we will go in circular motions with the mirror, kind of cleaning it in a sense, and going clockwise forward in time to actually open the portal. And I usually just evoke and call on Archangel Michael and the other archangels of the highest white benevolence here to guide me, protect me, and most importantly, love me as I am intentionally open up this portal for the mirror practice and the glamour application. This asks that this work is protected, grounded, balanced, blocked to any trickster or negatively low vibrational energy that may try to interfere with this work. And we offer gratitude. All right. So it's like, the more I always talk about when it comes to prayer, the more that you do it, the better you become at it. It's not about all the fancy words. Although within balance, when it comes to understanding that spells are the words that you speak, that is also another way that you should be intentional. Don't just say anything, but the more that you pray, the better you can become at prayer. The better you can come up with those words. You don't always have to look up. I used to look up prayers and incantations. And as a channeler, God was just like, you don't have to do that. You just need to go within. You just need to listen, because I feel like it's like a heart song type thing. Your heart will tell you exactly how to pray, but you have to be in tune and in alignment with it to be able to do so. And that requires spending a lot of time with self. And so as we're using the reflective surface, this is the reason why it's important, because there are a lot of people that just aren't comfortable. It's my mirror. With just looking at themselves, with not breaking eye contact, and with just being present without the need to fix or criticize. And so I do like to sit as we begin naturally with my back just on a regular chair, not hunched up or having to sit a certain way, but just very relaxed and comfortable. This is why I do encourage, even though you can sit crisscross applesauce on the ground, I like to actually feel my feet planted on the ground, so I'm sitting up in a chair. Then I'm making sure that my shoulders are nice and relaxed and just at regular, not hunched up, not trying to have a specific posture, just very relaxed. Because I usually like to introduce square breathing at this point in time, but you can also just get to a point to where you are just breathing and acknowledging your natural breath. That can also help you to get to the present moment. I have a little compact, a smaller mirror that is on a little tilt or whatever, but get wherever you're comfortable, not only just with the right posture, but being able to actually look in the mirror comfortable without changing the posture. And so that's why I use the one I use, because you're able to turn it. Okay. And so you want to just be calm. You want to be grounded. So this is a time where you're connecting to your breath or doing a series of deep breaths. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. With square breathing, you usually want to go ahead and do the same count of inhale, holding it for the same amount of seconds, and then exhaling. And we've been walking through doing the square breathing where for the exhale, we extend it for a couple more seconds just to give ourselves more time to release, just in case we're holding on to anything. After we do that a few times, then we're going to then notice if there's any stress or tension in any part of the body, so we can address that as well before we do our affirmations. So I'm going to inhale for 4, hold it for 4, and exhale for 6 seconds. And again, just do it as many times as you feel you need it until you feel nice and relaxed. I almost like to say just go through the breathing practice until you start to feel a little bit light. So you can't really pinpoint what part of your body is even like sitting on the chair. You're just there. Remember, in through your nose and out to with your mouth. And if you do find yourself raising your shoulders, as most do when they do the deep inhale, just make sure you go back to relax and release when you go ahead and exhale. So then after you do that and return either back to your regular breathing or just continue with the deep breathing, then you want to make sure that you are looking at yourself in the reflective surface, right into your eyes. Make that eye contact and do not look away. The moment that you want to look away, That is the edge that we're trying to push past. And understand when it comes to confidence and how things waver and how you have to constantly work on these things within self, there's sometimes when you can meet your gaze and there's no issue, and there's other times where you may not want to. And so that's the reason why we're just encouraging to push through any uncomfortability, because this is the base energy. This is where you want to be. So that anytime anything or anyone or any circumstance may take you out of that, you know how to get back to this. This is the muscle memory that we're creating with the consistency. Being grounded, being protected, always return back to balance. Again, this is the time you can identify, I feel some tension right here in my head. And so this is also how you can start to perform Reiki on yourself. So now I can, as I'm breathing in and out, when I breathe in, bringing attention to where I felt the tension. And when I breathe out, I'm taking that energy and I am pushing it out. I do a little extra step that I'm not going to talk about, but we can always talk about it another time. All right, so these are the two phrases that I feel like that I want us to say today for our mirror practice. After we are relaxed, we've released any tension in our body, and we are just existing in the present moment. We are looking with our eyes to our eyes, making that direct eye contact without breaking the gaze. And first we're going to say, I make space for what supports me. I make space for what supports me. I make space for what supports me. The second phrase is going to be, I grow at a pace that honors me. I grow at a pace that honors me. I make space for what supports me. And if you're like me, sometimes I get distracted. I do have to close my eyes. I'm a visual person, so closing your eyes is fine after you get that rhythm. But understand too, don't knock yourself when the thoughts start coming. That is a part of the meditative process that is not talked about enough, where people are fearing that they are not doing it right or they're missing the mark somehow because they have centered and calmed themselves, and then they're aware of all the rumination that's going on in the thought space. This is where you are supposed to actually be aware of every thought, isolate each one, and just toss it out until the thought space is either empty or until you've commanded it enough to be able to see one thought at a time, to be able to see if the thought is original, coming from your energy or coming from external energy. So it's okay to start having thoughts when you are calm and when you are meditating. And if something takes you away, that's why I say you can close your eyes as actual way of shutting everything out and saying, nope, let me realign, let me refocus. But then you could go back to open them up again to reset yourself. You know what I'm saying? To almost like hitting the reset button. This is where I am, present moment, looking at myself. Let me start over. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. And don't ever think that you're failing when it comes to meditation or grounding yourself when you're using different techniques. Just go ahead and push further. Because sometimes that's that edge that you just have to push through. And it might not even be in the same moment. I'm not even going to say that you just have to push through every single uncomfortability all the time. It could be to where it's like I found where my limit is, or where the trigger has arisen, or where the uncomfortability sits. And I need to just step away from this and maybe try this again a little bit later. Before I do that, there are two screens that I want to be able to show. Last stream, I showed them at the very end, but it was good information as I'm scrolling on Pinterest and just adding things as reminders. All right. So this was something I thought was amazing. Remember to give yourself grace. So as we were talking about the triggers and whatnot and being able to push through on meditation, not give up, Ground yourself first. So we already just went over taking deep breath, reciting the affirmations, maybe even using the mirror, and that's engaging the sight sense. And then R was recognize the trigger. So notice the physical signs, as I was saying, any type of tension anywhere. And then you can even ask yourself, because once you get grounded and you're breathing right and you're aware and you're paying attention to your body, you can either recognize, is that something that was already present before you started meditating, or is this coming up as I'm doing it? And then I think this was made, because this was not my original words, but this was made in response to when something happens in the moment, or maybe a trigger happens and you need to try to reset. Because again, the more you practice this, the more you'll be able to do this on the spot. And again, it's like muscle memory. And the threshold doesn't have to be super long, and it doesn't have to be a big episode. Everybody stop, hold on, I gotta breathe. It's just something that you do within yourself. Assess and adjust. Reframe any type of thoughts that you're having. Shift the focus. Choosing your responses next, because this is what we don't talk about enough when it comes to emotions. We may not be able to create it or destroy it. We can manipulate it, and we can choose. We can block and shield. We do not have to take on any energy that we do not want to take on. We don't have to feel any type of way that we don't want to feel. So you can be responsive and not reactive, and you do not have to be angry unless you choose anger. You don't have to be sad unless you choose sadness. And then exit and engage elsewhere. And so the next one was about nervous system routine and just about regulation, movement, breath work, or toning. That's why we talk about different hertz frequencies, or a lot of times with meditation, you've heard like ohms and the different sounds that you make while sitting in a certain posture. All of that has an effect on your nervous system. And then brain retraining. So this is all the things that we talk about. This is all the things that we discuss and encourage, and try to make sure that you understand how to use energy around you, because that is your power. Your power is not in the emotions and your feelings and what you feel. Your power is in your innate ability to connect to source. Your power is in your innate ability to manipulate the energy around you. So I went ahead and took the backgrounds down and the boards down, because now we're going to transition into our makeup portion. I tried to think ahead of time on what look I was going to do, because usually I'm coming on here very haphazardly. The first week we had inspiration looks. This week we just been jumping in and just doing things. So the colors again today, we started the live on Thursday. Green, blue, purple, indigo. I was thinking an evil eye look. I was thinking about expansion, and then I was thinking about, I was thinking about evil eye. How the evil eye has the evil eye is a white, blue, 2 shades of blue, and then the white. I know what I'm talking about. I was thinking about doing something like that. That's what I want to do. We were talking about expansion. We did our mirror practice. So I have been rewatching my lives, and I needed to turn the meditation music and the hertz frequency down in the background. That's first off. I need to flip it, so you should be able to see this and read this the right way. That's second off. And just remembering to keep everything nice, well lit, and all of that, because eventually we're going to be moving over to having some of the content over on YouTube, and maybe even streaming it on YouTube to make the editing process a little bit easier. I'm proud of myself, because this time I started for a different reason. This wasn't just out of boredom. This was a combination of just really trying to remember who I am, remember what I'm here to do, stop hiding behind recorded content, do the things that I'm already doing. This is stuff that I will be doing. My kids come in here and they be like, Mom, what you doing? Where you going? Nothing. I'm just putting my makeup on. I'm just playing around with it. When it comes to that, I'm just trying to be better than my past self. That's literally it. I ain't in competition with nobody. So I'm excited. It's about discipline, and I had to stop being so hard on myself for what I felt like I should have did years ago. Look, it's over and done with. Those years have passed. That time is over. Yep, I know I can. I'm gonna get to it. 15 days is gonna make me feel like I can do another 15 days, because that's 2 weeks worth of being consistent. And I know I can do it too. So I definitely am gonna need to make this smaller. I always start the brow so freaking big, and then you can't even really tell. I'm using a black pencil and a brown one. They all look black. But I'm excited because that's just discipline that I feel like I just never had before. And I just get better with my preparation too, because today I had everything laid out, everything that I knew that I was going to need and use. And then I had, a couple days ago, I had bought myself a cart so I could put all the makeup on the side, so it's easy for me to just grab it. And so it was like, you don't really have an excuse, because I wouldn't have been doing nothing right now anyway. What's going on with the phone? My main phone that I use, I definitely did get an upgrade, but the phone that I'm using right now to stream is an old phone, and it does what it's supposed to do, honey. Oh my goodness. Yep, it's damaged. It's time to get something new. You just gotta catch one of these sales. They be having the little sales. You just gotta catch a sale. You gotta catch a sale. And then you end up getting a phone for a decent price. Because they let anybody finance a phone nowadays. It ain't hard to get one. You just gotta have a couple dollars. It's not hard to get one at all. Anybody get a phone. Honey, they want us all on this thing. As long as kids is okay. Shit. I tried to get them brows back under control because I started off so freaking big. Under control. Gotta find a brush that I can use to, maybe I can use this to buff this out some. Create me a decent base. Alright, so from 12 to 1, we'll be doing the Glamour makeup, which I've decided to try. We're going to try, haven't done this before, do an evil eye colored scheme. See if we can use to a little white base to start off with, because I don't know what it's going to end up turning into, so let's just try to see. Now, it is supposed to be blue on the outside, blue, white, then lighter blue, like the dark. We're doing the one for protection, the dark blue for karma protection. They have other evil eye colors, and I didn't know this, but when I was doing my research, they had other ones. So the karmic protection is supposed to be the blue one. Y'all don't quote me, because I'm not trying to say that that is 100% correct. I'm just saying that is what I saw. So we about to see, because it's supposed to be dark blue on the outside, then it's white, then it's the lighter blue, and then it's the black. So we're about to try to make the eye. We're about to try to see if we can make the eye do that. And that, as you see, that's the reason why the white is important, for the blue color to pop a little bit more. We about to see if we gonna make, if this is gonna turn out right. Girl, I didn't know either, but we about to see all that fallout right there. So it's supposed to be white after that. Just see what happens. This is my first time doing something like this. Do one eye at a time just in case I don't like it, because then I could just do anything on the other eye. I've done that before. Very abstract. Ready into the middle part. I am so concentrated right now. That's what I don't like, because I have a palette that is really good for blending. And point blank period, everything I just did was like, it's just messy. It's just muddy. So I can't figure out how to get the color placement that I want and have clean lines without it having been paint first. So this is the first time that this has ever happened, but I don't like it, and I'm going to take it off. So I wanted to do what I wanted is not coming out right. And this is just water, and it's not budging. As you see, when you use a good eyeshadow base, it's not moving. Hard for me to get it off. So the white is what you want to use, except for the fact that, I don't know, I got to look up some better techniques for how to actually make my edges cleaner. I'm having a hard time getting it off now. My edges a little cleaner, because even the paint I have, when I try to use it, I feel like it creases so bad. So something, I'm not sure, y'all. But I don't know which look to do now. I'm stuck. That's why I'm glad I didn't jump in and do both eyes, because then I would have had to do that all over again. So I am glad that I found my white eyeshadow base. But as of right now, I don't know. I be feeling like I do the same stuff all the time. So I'll be trying to look for different ways, different stuff, but that didn't come out right. I get so stuck doing the same type of blending. And that one was, when I tell you I had to just be okay with the choice, I expected what I did to be a lot more crisp too. So this is the thing. I need to try to figure out how to also do what I'm saying and not feel like I gotta run out and go get new stuff. But I think the products I'm using so far is like cool for a lot of the blending. But when I want like crease type stuff and sharp looks, I don't know what I don't know. I need to look up some more techniques. I need to look up if I have the right brushes and stuff, because I feel like I got stuck to a point to where I'm doing the same type of makeup looks, just different colors. If that makes sense. I'm trying to do different stuff. It's just not coming out right. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I honestly don't know what to do. It's a powder eyeshadow. It's not like a liquid or anything like that. So I don't know how I would have made that work. Unless I would have just really had to use the paint and see if the paint made it come out different. Would have had to use my Athena. So I'm gonna try one more time with these. And if this doesn't work, then we just won't have a makeup look for today. And that's okay. Sometimes it happens like that. So let's see if we're able to create it with the paint instead. And I can say that I didn't want to use the paint only because I have way more experience using the eyeshadow than the paint. So we're just about to see if I can get the look and the shape that I want with the paint instead of, or the paint with the shadows instead of just the shadow by itself. That's wide. And then I'm just super concentrating because we literally just cleared this eye and started over, trying to see if this would be better. Blend the edge just a little bit. I don't like the lighter blue in either one of these palettes, but it's okay. We're gonna figure it out in a second. Not coincidentally using the paint more today. Somebody was saying the other day that they looked at this as art class when I was doing it. I was like, yeah, it kind of is a little bit. That's what I look at it as when I'm painting my face. No different than when I'm painting a canvas. So now we can say we got all the colors on there. And that's looking more like the evil eye to me than when I was trying to use the shadow itself. I need to get another brush to fix the white. If I find one that I didn't already have paint on. So, I hate it. But I'm not going to take it off. It's the first time I did this one. And so, no guarantee how this was going to come out. No guarantee. We were just trying to see what we can do. But when I tell you, honey, I don't like it. I mean, I like it. But that's okay. That's part of it sometimes. So it's evil eye for sure. I absolutely hate it. So what do? This is the time. What do you do? This is where then the embodiment of confidence and making sure that something is, nobody's going to know that you didn't mean for it to be like this. Or if you don't want to keep taking it back off, let's just take it in that direction of, we're going to keep going. This is how I wanted it to be. Even though it's not how I wanted it to be. So not only does every makeup look not turn out the way I want it, but when I'm making up stuff on the fly, that's usually how it goes. I can't determine exactly the outcome because it's experimentation. And the only reason why this would matter more is if I had a certain outfit or something was banked on it or whatever. But if it was just the embodiment of like colors or a certain look that I was trying to do and it just didn't come out exactly the way that I wanted it to come out, that's not a hard obstacle to get over. Oh, my nose is running a lot right now today. But the notion of using the evil eye tonight was just saying that I wanted to set a certain intention around the notion of protecting myself as well as my energy work as it pertains to my abundance. If I'm saying I want more capacity, I wanted that to be protected. And so I'm going to go ahead and create a shape as well. Again, just being more like, this is how I intended it to be. Even though I've already said, I've been transparent and said, it's not what I wanted. Nobody's going to be able to know that. So we're taking the blue and just doing something different with the blue. That's all. Just make it like, oh, this is what I wanted to do. After all, nobody has to know that. So I have different brushes that I use for the paint than what I use for the eyeshadow, because it is oil-based paint that I then have to clean the brushes a certain way. So I had to make sure that I blended that out first before I went back in, because there was just nothing there, and I gotta put something right there. All right, there we go. And I still don't like it. The more I add to it, the more I don't like it. So, like I said, this is the part where I'm gonna continue on with the rest. Continue on with the rest of the face, and then we're just gonna, so I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't go where. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put on the list. I'm gonna put on my list, practice doing the evil eye colors to come up with something that'll be better than this, because it's not what I want, but it's about to just be. And I'm not gonna do the other eye because there's no way. I just was making it up. There's no way I could do the other eye because I don't know what the hell I did. So I was like, I don't know what I did. And sometimes you have to trust your gut, because it was one of those days where I was like, I'm not going to do full face, or I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And then I get on here and I start forcing. That's why it says it cannot be forced. I got on here and start forcing. And once I start forcing, now this is what you have. Just don't even know what's going on. And I think that that's part of it too, the transparency of doing this type of stuff live. Because if I was doing a recorded video, nobody would know that I messed up nothing. Part of it is the transparency of just being real with the fact that sometimes stuff just doesn't go the way that you thought it was going to go. So I know it probably looks crazy, and it's okay. Like I said, this is where you have to just push through. It's not bad, but I don't like the eye. No matter how I slice it, I don't like it. So let's go back to the example of, like, if I was going somewhere and like this is what I was trying to do, but then something just didn't turn out right, but I still have somewhere to be. This is what I would do. So my go-to is usually just layering my colors on top and just blending them out together, deepening the outer corner, on some white or lightest in the brow bone in the inner corner. And then I would take the same brush that I usually use to shape my brows or to conceal and clean up that shape a little bit on the outer corner. So same exact colors, different placement, more blending, not like precise shape or nothing like that. And watch how different it's gonna make it look. So sometimes you just stick to what you know. There's nothing wrong with trying things new. But I could give the evil eye representation and not the actual evil eye if my ass would have did this to begin with. You see what I'm saying? How it's a whole different, same exact color, same everything, right? And then the only thing I'm going to do different on this side is do the white underneath instead of on top. Right there. Just a tiny little tidbit. All right, so they gave me something different. So both eyes are done. One is giving literal, there's giving 9. That's a little bit better. Because we're done. If we keep going back to that, it'll never stop. Again, the idea for my expansion was protection. Because I feel like I don't have a problem with making room. Not saying that I don't have a problem letting go. I don't have a problem making room. So then I had to say, well, what is my issue? Usually it is making room and then allowing the wrong energies in the space along with me. Spirit will definitely remind you and pull us to the side and let us know not everybody is going, not everybody is invited, not everybody should have been privy to you in certain seasons. And that is the reason why, even though you are trying to put yourself in a position for expansion, and even though you try to put yourself in a position to receive more, it's not going to happen because you are still holding on to someone. I'm making it personal. Someone. Still holding on to someone. That's what I would be doing. Holding on to people. And so I am encouraging myself with the evil eye. When we've had to be honest about praying those prayers, and we pray to God and say, you know what, God, I'm not strong enough. I need you to do it. I'm not strong enough to let this person go. I need you to just help. I need them to walk out of my life. But just understanding the confessions. We talked about it before as it pertained to the cars. When I was saying negative stuff about my car, I lost my car. So I think today we're going to put it on the lash, only because I done did all this on my eye and I could potentially make it worse by trying to introduce this glue. So we're going to put it on a strip and let that sit for a second. instead of normally we put it on the lash line, the upper lash line. But again, we're pushing through. The notion, the visualization is I set an intention, I started Glamour Techniques, but then I lost my confidence somewhere in the middle. And this was in real time where I started with shadows, I wiped it off, I started again, did one eye, still didn't really care for it. We got the exact representation of what I was going for, but that's not what I'm used to. This is what I'm used to. And so I am saying, it doesn't matter if I was running to the bank, running to go do packages or stuff. I'm trying to get to a point to where I do this more often. And even if I get to a point to where it's like, oh, I can't hold myself back. I got to go ahead and push through. I got to go ahead and do this. I got somewhere to be. I got something to do. Who's going to know that I didn't mean for it to be this way? When I step outside the house, nobody's going to know. It's going to be based on how I carry myself. It's going to be based on you saying what I say, how I move. Even when somebody compliments on me and say, oh, your makeup is so nice, it's so pretty, I like the colors. I'm not supposed to be like, oh my gosh, I hated it, I didn't even want to wear this. That is not what you do. You don't say that. You say, thank you, girl. Thank you so much. I'm saying girl because usually it's the girlies. But sometimes you get compliments from other energies as well. No one will ever know. How would they know that you didn't mean for it to be that way? They won't. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I don't know what's going on because things are a little bit difficult today. Usually it's never. Spirit is telling me it's because I chose to do the evil eye. It kind of invited the energy in. So now that's my freaking fault. Because honestly, that's the reason why I'm not streaming over on Meet Me. Is because it's a lot of evil eye over there. It's a lot of evil eye over there. And I wasn't running from it. I was trying to be sensitive and listen to my intuition. Because every time I try to stream over there, something happens with the audio, just something. So that was my fault. It wasn't a lot of inspiration looks. Just flat out just using the evil eye. The way that I just did it, it wasn't a lot. And maybe there's a reason why. It is a symbol for protection. I used to have one in my car. I have one at my front door. Shit like that. But it's not just it's not nothing to play around with. It's symbols are as old as time and they mean something. They have a significance, again, whether you believe it or not. If you don't believe it, then you just don't have to utilize that energy, but it exists. But a lesson was learned about alignment because this wasn't in alignment today. Maybe just not today. As I said, something is going on today. I'm not really sure why, other than the fact that I've been making myself more present. And so spirits and entities and people that don't want to see me, and trust me, I ain't the type of person that's always walking around talking about somebody got haters. I used to walk around so much not realizing that I did, that it got to a point to where I had to stop. I had to be realistic. And so there are people, unfortunately, that don't want to see me doing this, that don't want to see me continue, that want to see me fail, that want to see me give up. If you walk around thinking that you have no threats and that there's nothing ever coming against you, then you're not able to properly protect yourself. But once you are aware, and if the awareness looks like stop lying to yourself about what you have going on, then that's just what it'll look like. So the energy is a little off today, and I'm okay with that. It's fine. It doesn't always turn out exactly right. Energetically, I don't know. People, I didn't join my other stream because I didn't feel like it. And I really hope that whoever spirit is trying to reveal to me, who else that may not be a good person, I'm hoping it's not who I think it is. It doesn't take away from the message that was given about expansion. And I feel like this is part of the process. This is just part of the process. So I ain't gonna keep making it deep and spooky. Since I did put something on my face, it's best to finish it out so that I can take these pictures and let it be. I don't know what happened in the general sense, other than this is usually I normally just wouldn't do any of this because I'm so mood based that if something doesn't go right or when I'm not feeling, I just normally just don't get on here at all. So I think I'm done. But I appreciate you for sticking around, talking to me. Stay tuned for the pictures because you never know. It might actually be something. Who knows what we did here. But remember to be kind to yourself and others and be intentionally come back and sit with us. I allow myself to expand with ease was our affirmation. So that is what we were meditating on today, and the importance of being able to not do more, not to overextend, but to increase the capacity, since I'm saying that I am wanting to utilize this energy to bring more into my life. In order to bring more, one of the first things I might have to do is to let go. Again, thank you for being here. My name is Lola B, and you're tuning into the Moon Mood, and we've been doing 30 days of Glamour Magic, so make sure you come back. Anytime that you choose to join and bring your energy to this space is the right time. My lips is not ashy in these little pictures, but we'll see you tomorrow.